Number 7 deals with calculating slope. So the first thing we gotta do for these problems is remember how to calculate slope. Might be helpful to write that down over here. So our slope is equal to change in y over change in x. We normally write that as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Those numbers at the bottoms of the variables, they're just labels. So let's label our points over here. Remember for ordered pairs, so for number 1, 2, 4, and negative 3, 10, it's always x, y. So I'm going to start there. X, y, and x, y. Does it matter which point we call the first point and the second? No, but we'll call this the first point. So I'll put this as an x1. Oh, that didn't look so good. And y1 over here, we'll call this one the second point. So we'll make that x2 and y2. So now we just plug in our numbers into our formula. Just be careful. So our slope is equal to y2, which we're calling 10, minus y1, which is 4, over x2, negative 3, minus x1, 2. So we get 10 minus 4 is 6. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. Now remember, negative signs for fractions. We can write that out front. We can write that on top as well. Those are all three the same thing. Really quickly, just in case, maybe you said that the 4 and the 2 were the x2 and the y2. I just want to show you that we'll get the same thing. 4 minus 10 over 2 minus negative 3. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. 2 minus negative 3 is the same thing as 2 plus 3, which is 5. And as you can see, you get the same answer no matter if you start with the first point or the second point. Just got to do them in the same order. So similarly for the bottom one, we'll call this x1, we'll call this y1, call this x2, call this y2. Plugging that into our slope formula, we get 6 minus 6 over negative 5 minus 4. Which is 0 over negative 9. This is the thinker. 0 divided by negative 9. How many times does negative 9 fit into 0? That is 0. So the slope of this one is 0. Undefined, just in case you want to talk about that really quick. It would look something like negative 9 over 0. So just be careful. You're not allowed to divide by 0. That's why we get undefined. Or something like that. But 0 divided by negative 9, that is 0. That's why the answer to the second one is 0.